So I found there's really two ways to go about creating synthwave ARPs. One way is to just feel it out. As you're listening to the music, you just play some kind of ARP pattern on your keyboard. The other way is to kind of build it off of what your chords are doing. So I'll show you both ways in this example here. So for this first verse of this song, I played this by feeling. I was just listening to what was going on here. So let me have these instruments going. So I just kind of heard the pattern in my head, so I played it on my keyboard. And then what I did was, it's kind of a multi-note pattern here. So you can see it's like doubles. It's same note twice, same note twice, same note twice, so on and so on. And so then what I did to create some more space and more interest in the mix was I just doubled this and then split these notes up so that the first note is left and the second note is right. And so it's going to be panned slightly left and right. And so it sounds like this. So you can hear it kind of jumping back and forth between the left and the right spectrum if you have headphones on. So number one, it just kind of helps, again, create space for the vocals. I'm always thinking about how to create space for the vocals. So it's moving those out of the way. Creates more of a mystical feel of things moving back and forth, which is the kind of synthwave I like more of the dreamy, mystical type of synthwave. For the actual preset here, you can use any kind of pluck. You can use a bell. You can use kind of a plucky synth brass type sound for your ARPs. And this one I'm using Synth Control's Victory, or Viceroy, I should say, pluck from his, yes, the Outrun pack has the pluck Viceroy in it. So we can see we got a filter here. We got kind of a longer envelope here. So it's kind of a really nice sound. And then on these individual tracks, I just have a little bit EQ, taking out some of the harshness around 2K. And then I've got these going to a bus, so I can process both the left and the right together. I've got a lot more EQ here, taking out the lows, which I don't need, taking out some more resonance frequencies here I don't like. I'm adding in some more vintage EQ here. So kind of a pattern I like to follow is I use a digital EQ to cut. And then when I want to boost, I use a vintage EQ so that I'm getting some saturation in there as well, which adds some more flavor and color when boosting. In this case, though, I'm also cutting with a vintage EQ, so I do that as well. So cutting around 680, I guess I found some mud I didn't like. Again, just another high pass. And then I'm boosting slightly at 8.2, so kind of above where the vocals are going to be. I'm kind of boosting those frequencies to bring those out. I've got some more saturation here using Baby Audio's Super VHS. I use this in almost every single synthwave project I create. Did a full tutorial on this, which you can check out in the description below. And by the way, all Baby Audio plugins, you also get 10% off when you use my code OAA at checkout. So I'm just adding in some heat here, which is saturation. Again, just to help bring those out, make them feel more retro. I got some Ori EQ on here. I was still not happy with the actual character. So, and even more EQ. So I'm using like 4 different EQs here. I'm boosting at 12 and 7.2 and just applying another high pass filter. So a little bit of redundancy there. So without anything in, we'll hear what this sounds like. So it just makes it very light and airy. And then I've got this pluck again during the chorus, but it is just going down the center. And then that is layered with another ARP pluck here that I've got from Synth Control's Serum preset pack. This one is from his Retrowave pack, and it is called Starboy. And again, I'm using the same panning technique. And so this one I built off of the chords. So if I look at the chords here, I look at what are the most common notes across these chords, and right away you see this right here. You see A and you see E. So now let's look at my ARP. Again, this is split up left and right, so we got to highlight both of these. We've got A and we've got E. So that's the standard ARP. So all the way through A and E, but that gets repetitive, that gets kind of boring. So what I did then was I tried to add in some variance, some interest. So that's kind of the foundation, the A and the E going back and forth. And then it looks like here at the start of the second bar, I brought down some of the notes, and then here I'm bringing them back up. So basically this is what you've got repeating. So here's our 4-bar pattern. So the first and the third bar are exactly the same. And so then 2 and the 4, I'm mixing them up. So that's kind of the pattern I like to do. I like to alternate what I'm doing. So I might have, next time it might be the first 2 bars are the same. 1 and 2 is the same. Then I change up 3 and I change up 4. That's kind of what I follow, is usually 2 of the bars are exactly the same. And then 2 of the bars, I change something up. That's kind of my pattern for creating these. And so that's what I do. So then combined with the other one, it sounds like this. And then to increase energy in the climax of the chorus there, I just have the ARP go up an octave. And then during the bridge, I have another pattern. Again, it's following the 1, 2, 1, 3 kind of pattern here, where bars 1 and 3 are the same, but then 2 and 4 change something up. And usually what I do is I go down in 2 and then up in 4. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. It goes down and then up. And it's going back and forth again, which you don't have to do. You don't have to have it go back and left and right, but that's what I liked for this song. And so then for my other ARP down here, for Starboy, I've got this kind of EQ on here. More Super VHS to add saturation. I've got some EQ on here, doing some boosting of those high frequencies, some cutting some of the mids and the lows. And then lastly, to kind of glue these together, I added some tube compression here. Just kind of helps glue them together, brings them more forward, and adds some of that nice warm tube saturation. If you found this video helpful, be sure to blow up that like button like you're Luke Skywalker attacking the Death Star. And if you want more help creating synthwave music, be sure to click the video playing on the screen right now, as this includes my full in-depth tutorial on creating a synthwave song from start to finish. With that, have an awesome day and keep creating.